In the ongoing fight against internet censorship and the strategy to directly pressure payment processors, we've had a number of testimonials recently where people are talking about their experience calling these payment processors and how the company representatives seem to be getting annoyed and or upset, saying that they're getting a bunch of calls like this. And the ultimate point here is that it does seem to be working based off these testimonials, but now we have more information because MasterCard themselves have actually issued a response this morning, just about an hour ago. Pirate Nation summarizing the response here, and we'll read the full thing for ourselves too, although it's not a very long statement anyways, but we'll get to that in a second. So, it says, MasterCard issued a statement that they haven't evaluated any game restrictions of any activity on game creator sites despite recent adult game removals on itch.io. And as mentioned, the full statement from MasterCard News says, clarifying recent headlines on gaming content, MasterCard has not evaluated any game or required restrictions of any activity on game creator sites and platforms, contrary to media reports and allegations. Our payment network follows standards based on the rule of law. Put simply, we allow all lawful purchases on our network. At the same time, we require merchants to have appropriate controls to ensure MasterCard purchases cannot be used for unlawful purchases, including illegal adult content. Now, if we go to the MasterCard News Twitter account itself and take a look at the official statement that we just read, we can see that they are already getting called out in the community notes. These being added that read, both Steam and itch have stated their removal of adult content came from pressure by payment processors, including MasterCard. Furthermore, MasterCard and other payment processors have a documented history of refusing service to Japanese retailers over legal adult content. The one and only Madam Savvy responding, saying, I highly recommend everyone file an ethics complaint with the lawfully required ethics hotlines. They respect anonymity, but now MasterCard is just lying. MasterCard is named by every site and shop that has been forced to enact censorship for years. And most recently with Collective Shout, on their own website, there are multiple pages where they're directly implying that MasterCard is one of the payment processors that they went after and pressured, therefore getting these payment processors to then force Steam to enact various censorship, and Steam's policy is even changing because of this stuff. So if MasterCard really wants us to all believe that this is not true, that they're not actually doing this, and therefore Collective Shout's lying, you would expect that they would actually be going after Collective Shout, but they seem to have nothing to say about Collective Shout, and instead they just released this damage control statement, expecting all of us to believe it. Now, here's something I think you guys are going to find very amusing. So I've been reading a lot of the wonderful comments that you guys have been leaving, and I stumbled upon this one, and I know it's like wide, but I'll read it for you. So this comment says, called them today, referring to payment processors. They said, please write an email and submit it. Lol, I told them no, I won't be doing that. I'll be calling again, thank you. And the reason this is so funny is, well, I'll just read this comment from Sekwar from the other day that provides some more context, some more insight rather, on how the stuff is working. So Sekwar says, I work at a credit card company, not MasterCard nor Visa, so I can give you a suggestion. Don't bother sending emails. Those will go straight to the trash. Do call their call center. They're not allowed to ignore calls, and they have to pay the call center operator companies. Yes, they are all third parties. Per call taken, lowering the amount of calls received on call centers is 80% of all the projects that I work on. Anything that increases the amount of daily calls is a nightmare for them. Keep calling, and they will fold. So looking at both those comments together, I mean, it's hilarious that apparently these call centers are now telling people, oh, just send us an email, guys. You know, you don't need to call us about this. The email would be so much better if you could please hang up and send an email. And it's like, no, we know what you guys are doing. Nice try. You know what we're going to do? We're going to call you more now. Yeah, we're just going to call even more. Get wrecked. And so earlier in the video, I very briefly showed this image, this graphic that someone made. I'm not sure who made it, but whoever did, shouts out to you. And you can see it talks about US laws violated, European laws violated, tips for the call, and a number of phone numbers for these payment processors. And I figured for anyone curious, I would show it again if you want to screenshot this or whatever. And yeah, there you go. Now, moving on, we've actually got some good news regarding itch.io. Before we get to the good news, let's get a quick refresher. You may recall a number of days ago, specifically on July 24th, they made this update on their NSFW content, essentially capitulating to the payment processors' demands, saying, We have de-indexed all adult NSFW content from our browse and search pages. We understand this action is sudden and disruptive. We are truly sorry for the frustration and confusion caused by this change. Recently, we came under scrutiny from our payment processors regarding the nature of some content hosted on itch.io. Due to a game titled No Mercy, which was temporarily available on itch.io before being banned back in April, the organization Collective Shout launched a campaign against Steam and itch.io, directing concerns to our payment processors about the nature of certain content found on both platforms. Alright, with that context, we now have itch.io from 19 hours ago providing this update on their website titled Re-indexing Adult NSFW Content Developer Update. So let's hop over there and take a look. Today, we are re-indexing free adult NSFW content. We are still in ongoing discussions with payment processors and will be reintroducing paid content slowly to ensure we can confidently support the widest range of creators in the long term. Note, I've limited the display of replies to prevent off-topic discussion. If you have issues or concerns, you can contact support, or if you want to have a more public discourse, then I recommend creating a topic in general discussion. If you'd like to be eligible for today's reindexing, your page must have the following option checked: the no payments option under the pricing section of your project's edit page in your dashboard. itch.io would then discuss how they've operated with Stripe as a facilitator of payment transactions on their site for over 10 years, but that unfortunately, Stripe claims they won't be able to support certain adult content on the site. But itch.io went on to say, we're in the process of talking with other payment partners to accept card payments that Stripe is unable to process. We disabled Stripe payments last week on pages identified as having adult NSFW content, quote unquote. Now that we have a more specific definition from Stripe, we may review that initial list for potential reintroduction. However, our long-term plan is to implement one or more new processors to avoid putting the platform at risk. So the reindexing is a little bit half-baked right now, as it seems that they are only going to be returning adult games that are not paid, so free games. And while it's a start, it's still not a great situation. However, the latter part of the statement does seem quite a bit more optimistic, where they discuss moving away from the authoritarian payment processors and seeking an alternative to fully bring the reindexing of paid adult games back as well. And in other news, the last thing we'll take a look at in this video is a brief update on the YouTube situation, where the other day we talked about YouTube starting to ask for IDs in the US, specifically on August 13th, where this policy seems to begin. And they essentially say that they're going to be using more advanced AI to detect if users are under 18, and if they detect that they believe that you are under 18, they're going to ask for verification via ID or credit card to prove that you're not really under 18. So hey, if they get this wrong, it's on you to then provide your own personal information to the platform. Pirate Nation making this follow-up that then got the response from YouTube that I had on screen a moment ago that we'll read in a second. Context being, Pirate Nation says they're rolling out AI-based age estimation in the US to identify users under 18. If miscategorized, you'll need to verify with a government ID, selfie, or credit card effective August 13th. And yeah, Team YouTube then says, as you mentioned in your reply, this won't be required for all users. We've always had the option for age verification via ID or credit card if someone is incorrectly estimated to be under 18. This update is about using better technology to make these estimations. Interestingly enough, one user would respond with an email they got from YouTube where, according to them, their account is already age verified with their ID that they've already submitted, but even with that account being verified as over 18, they actually still got their live streaming ability shut off, allegedly because YouTube thought that they're a minor between age 13 and 15. The email saying, "Hi there, I hope this email finds you well. We have received an update from our specialist, and here's what we can share. To better protect minors on YouTube, live streams with minors 13 to 15 years old who are not visibly accompanied by an adult may have their live chat disabled. Channels not in compliance with this policy may have live chat temporarily disabled on future streams started by the channel. Please note that in the future, we plan to take down live streams that violate this policy, and the account may temporarily lose its ability to live streams. Sincerely, sincerely the YouTube team." And that user says in response, "I'm not a minor. I was ID verified." So of course, I don't know if this is a true story or not, but make of it what you will. If this is true, The whole system's a complete mess. And I think that does it for all the updates I wanted to go over in this video, so I'll leave it there. And thank you all for your continued support. I'm really glad so many people are enjoying my coverage on this ongoing situation. If you enjoyed this video too, please consider liking and or subscribing. It really does help out, and I truly appreciate it. Also, have a great weekend ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.